We're grateful you're listening to the free OMG Talk Show Small Business Owner Podcast and Skylar Power Hour.
Hi there, this is Paul Finkelstein with the OMG Biz Cafe Live Talk Radio. I have a question for all of you guys that are networking. If you're a small business owner or an entrepreneur, I think it's a really good question. And a couple of people have been asking this to me on Alignable. So I thought maybe I would see if it applies to you as well. Plus, I'm putting up on the screen the OMG Biz Cafe, our beachside theater, our remote theater with plenty of seats there, beachside, where we hold networking events and a charter Toastmaster club coming up very soon. But here's the magic question of the day. See if I could read this here. And you could probably enlarge your screen as well if it's on your TV, your tablet, your phone, or your laptop. But if somebody asks me, am I getting any meaningful relations for business or for social, perhaps, through social media, Alignable, Facebook, LinkedIn, OMG Biz Cafe, Toastmasters, any meaningful relationships there? Are all those meant to have meaningful relationships? And well, let's dive deeper and digress with that. So with that in mind, if everyone did these three things, they would definitely have meaningful relationships wherever they go, whether it's in person or online, whether it's Alignable, LinkedIn, Facebook, or OMG Biz Cafe right here, in which you could always come and meet other small business owners, entrepreneurs, workaholic professionals at the OMG Biz Cafe by going to omgtalk.com, and it'll take you right in. Just click launch event and you'll come right into an event. It's open to all guests anytime, most welcome guests at 10 o'clock Eastern time, Monday through Friday. I also hold meetings on Saturdays at 8 a.m. Eastern time. If you are in a different time zone, you just have to sacrifice a little bit of sleep. So if everyone did these three things, and what are the three things that you need to do so you'll have meaningful relationships wherever you go? So the first thing is, every time you meet somebody, whether it's on social media or in person, this is one of the things that somebody could be that's facing you in front of you. They could be a friend. I mean, it's that simple. They could be a friend, but if they're not a friend, it's okay. There's just two more things. They don't have to be all three things, but they could be one of these three things. And what's a friend? I mean, a friend is somebody that isn't trying to sell you all the time. Maybe actually friends sometimes try to educate us about things because they're concerned. But we all know those friends that try to constantly give us their opinion. But, after one time or something, or having a conversation, and you don't like that opinion, I guess you could always change the topic. You could always change the topic. And if you're not used to changing the topic, there's two magic words to change a topic so that you could remain friends and have fun. And you have to learn the art of pivoting and segueing. And if you don't learn the art of pivot and segueing, you're going to stay on that topic, and or you'll just run out of things to say, and you just have some dead air. You'll have some quiet time, right? So what is pivoting and segueing, and how do you change the topic in a way that makes people feel comfortable and not uncomfortable? And if you're not used to doing that, I'd highly recommend coming to our charter Toastmasters Club in the OMG Biz Cafe at omgtalk.com. And it'll be on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock Eastern time in the evening, either after dinner or before dinner, however you want to do it, but one day a week. You don't have to come every week. You can do whatever you want to, but By coming every week, though, you'll learn faster a lot of techniques. You'll learn how to be a better manager at your company. You'll learn how to run meetings better, and you'll learn how to pivot and segue. And that's at our Charter Toastmasters Club on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And this is wonderful for business leaders. And Toastmasters is so great for that because there's a skill. There's three parts to it, our Toastmaster meeting. And that is the impromptu section where you learn how to do impromptu speeches that are for 1 minute. Just 1 minute. And those impromptu speeches help you to segue or pivot and change the topic. And if you can get better at changing the topic, smoother transitions, you won't have to worry and you can make friends a whole lot easier. There's also a great book by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It is a wonderful book. You should really get it. I know a lot of people thinking I can go listen to it in my car and get the Audible. Highly recommend to read the paperback book or the hardback book. And put some notes in the margins, because when you involve your hand in writing notes in it and actually taking notes, it goes from your brain to your hand to the paper versus just listening. It's a different learning when you only listen than when you involve the other senses of our body. Okay, so one is friend. Everybody can be a friend. The second thing that you can do is everybody can be a phenomenal resource. When something happens and you hear that somebody did a really great service, don't you want to tell everybody? Just like you just saw an amazing movie. It was a romantic comedy. I know guys, they just love that, or not. But at the same time, it's nice to be with somebody special with a nice romantic movie, perhaps. I like it. I don't mind. So a resource. I always think of the plumber. I think of that because maybe emergencies could happen. One time over the last 25 years, water was gushing out of our house into the street. It went through the shrubs, over the sidewalk, into the street from our house. And it was just gushing because that faucet outside the house, the master, the water that going into our house broke off. It just, something happened and it snapped off. And I could not turn the water off. There was just no way to turn the water off. Well, there was a way to turn the water off, but I did not know where the main was off the house that was buried in the ground underneath a cement cover. And I just had to have a special tool to take it off to turn off the main. But I didn't know that. So there was water gushing out of the house, over the sidewalk, through the bushes, through a tree, right into the street. It just kept going like one of those fire hydrants in the middle of a city, right? And it wouldn't shut off. So what did I do? With all the emergencies said and done, I could have just let it stay on. Because, after it was this blasting out and it was like 2:00 in the morning for like a half an hour, I thought like my water bill, I saw in my head the water bill going up and up and up and up, and I saw dollar signs across the screen. For that half hour of water coming out of my house, the water bill barely budged. It just barely budged. You think, is this some kind of an error or something? Maybe there was plenty of water that day. Maybe it was not during a summer months where water might have a limited resource there. In the summertime, during drought times, if there's any. I mean, it was wasteful. It could be wasteful for sure. But as far as cost goes, it was not a catastrophe in costs. So you don't have to panic if that happens for that. And of course, all your neighbors are sleeping at 2:00 in the morning, so they're not going to hear it. But that being said, how do you shut it off? I had to call the plumber. And we called, and we didn't have a plumber. And we didn't want to wake our friends up at 2:00 in the morning. So we had to call an emergency plumber and had to pay a little bit of a premium to get that water off. The guy gladly came out, but he charged for it because we had to wake him up. And he said he was available 24 hours a day for emergencies. He came out probably with his girlfriend and they shut off our water. But a resource, if I had been doing this on a regular basis and filling my pipeline of resources and friends, these two categories, there's three things to have meaningful relationships. And I did this thing, this philosophy, this method, this Paul's method to meet my wife online. I did not have to escape after having a date, a blind date. I did not have to escape because I said everybody is a meaningful relationship if I do these three things. And this is the second thing, a resource. If only I had been doing this religiously, I would have by now had a favorite plumber who would have been a friend, possibly also, that would be available and probably wouldn't have charged me an arm and a leg because I would have known them. Now, I would gladly give them a few extra bucks because I got them up at 2 o'clock in the morning in emergency. And hopefully all your emergencies don't happen at 2 o'clock in the morning, but a resource. So to have a meaningful relationship wherever you network, whether it's online, Alignable, LinkedIn, Facebook, OMG Biz Cafe, in a Toastmaster meeting, a resource is a phenomenal thing. It's great to have friends for resources too, but sometimes those resources come from other places as well. And this is the third category, a client. Sometimes a resource can be a client as well. And also a client, as I guess, is a resource for a small business owner because they're an income stream, right? And hopefully you're giving them a service that values that income stream. So now every time I meet somebody, they're not always a client. They could be a resource. They're not always a resource. They could be a friend. They don't have to be all those three things. And what happens when I don't force a round peg in a round hole? Well, perhaps maybe that big D would never show up on anyone's forehead. What's the big D? Desperate. If you are marketing and you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur, workaholic professional, and you're in sales, and that D is more apparent on your forehead than the next business owner, it's probably because you're not using Paul's method. You're not using the three method. You're not doing the three things to have meaningful relationships. Are your clients, are your resources, are your friends meaningful relationships? Or are you treating everybody like the yellow pages? Are you treating everybody like a number? You do not have meaningful relationships? So, and what's the problem here? Well, of course, doing these three things all of the time will keep your pipeline full. So you have to do these things all of the time, which means you're always having relationships everywhere you go because people could be a friend, a resource, or a client. I mean, it's pretty simple. So are you a friend, a resource, or a client to OMG Biz Cafe? Well, friend and resource and client of OMG Biz Cafe, why don't you come visit, be my guest. You're welcome at 10 o'clock, Monday through Friday at omgtalk.com. Just click launch meeting, and I'll see you here in the Beachside Cafe. I'm going to give Tony the last word. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a fantastic day.
Paul and Sarah, the real couple that cares about your Medicare, says that Tony from trcvoiceovers.com is awesome if you want the best voice on the planet for any Audible project. Don't hesitate to reach out to him at Tony@trcvoiceovers.com.